Și acum trecem repede la panelul următor și îl invit pe domnul Gerd Bommer, Head of Advantage Austria România, să-și cheme paneliștii și vă dau dar sunt, din punctul meu de vedere, foarte importanți, fiindcă este vorba de aeroportul din München, reprezentantul aeroportului din München, domnul Sebastian Selmaier, pe care îl invit aici alături de noi, și îl invit pe domnul Eugen Egetenmaier, este fostul director al Centrului de Expoziții din München din anul 1992 până în 2014, când a intrat la pensie, dar a rămas consilierul actualului director de la Messe München. Și trebuie să vă spun că cu Messe München ne dorim un parteneriat la Gimbaf, la Centrul de Expoziții din Gimbaf, care se va înființa în apropierea aeroportului și a gării din Gimbaf. Și last but not least, îl invit pe Marco Grabner, Salesmanager EstEurope Rosenbauer International AG. Marco Grabner, please join us. Dankeschön. Și desigur, last but not least, and I love your company, Zlatko, Zlatic, General Manager, Lufthansa, Romania, Bulgaria și Moldova. Mulțumesc frumos. Thank you very much. Gerd, the floor is yours.
So, thank you very much, Christian Macedonski. I guess this is the first time that I close a panel before I open it, actually. But we got a quarter of an hour left. We're, I guess, going for 45 minutes now, Christian. That should be okay. With this, I would really like to introduce the people again, and I would like to introduce Zlatko Zlatic first of all, as General Manager of Lufthansa Group, Romania, Bulgaria, and Moldova. He started his career already in 1998 with Danzas Air, Sea and Freight, and moved to Lufthansa Cargo in 2000, and was later on with Lufthansa for some 2 years in Vietnam, after that in Algeria for 5 years, and 3.5 years in Abuja in Nigeria. After this, you came back to Germany, and in 2018 you moved to Romania as the General Manager of Romania and Moldova. And since the mid of 2021, also Bulgaria joined the pack. And I do understand that you're giving us now an interesting keynote speech. You're starting off, and I'm happy to introduce then afterwards our other speakers for the panel of airport development. And airport development needs airlines flying into the airport. Zlatko, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Gerd. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, the first question I'm getting is for sure, will the Lufthansa Group fly to Brasov? This is a good question and a big question mark behind. Do we need to fly to Brasov? Yes, we need. The potential is here. This region offers everything we need. We have the tourism, the nature, we have corporate companies, a lot of German and Austrian companies who are having their factories here, their offices here. So we need to bridge this region to Europe and to the world. So why don't we fly then here? I think I have to step a little bit back before COVID. We had a decade of economic growth. The airline business was booming. We had one record year after the other, and then COVID hit us. It brought us almost down to zero, and we were hit very hard. And after all the record years, the money disappeared very quickly, and we hardly survived. And we are having now a big back with almost 9 billion euro of debts. So this we have first somehow to work on. Then we are not back to the production we had before. So the summer looks good. We will come maybe to 95% of our production to the touristic destinations. Corporate traffic is not back yet. Will it come back completely? A lot of doubts. There is no clear outcome. So the summer looks good, but what will be in autumn? we're expecting that maybe 70% of the corporate travelers will come back, which were the backbone of our operations before COVID. Is this enough? We don't know. We have to see and work hard on it. We restructured our company, and now every new destination is an investment. Do we have the money? No. With 9 billion euros debts, it's not easy to just open a new destination. And there are still the destinations we were flying before COVID. Everybody's expecting us to return. Before COVID, we had around 770 aircrafts. This we reduced by 150 aircrafts during the crisis. We don't get them all back, so we are hoping that with the time we can grow our fleet to the pre-pandemic situation, but if this will happen, it's still a question mark. So, you see, we have a lot of open questions to answer before we could fly to Brasov. And Brasov is on the list with a lot of destinations who are asking it. If I only take Romania, where we are already flying to 5 cities, I have the request of 4 other airports who want us to fly there. So it's really a very difficult situation for us to decide and to choose the regions. But definitely, of all the regions here in Romania, Brasov is in the top position because we have the best potential here. So I planted this idea already with our network management. Everybody in Frankfurt, Munich, Vienna, Zurich, they know about this, and I'm hoping that by next year we maybe have an aircraft to spare which we could send to Brasov. So I'm working on it, and I hope that this dream will come true someday. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zlatko. Thanks very much for the opening speech. Yeah, with this, you talked about the reduction of airplanes, but you're also talking about increasing of flights. The flights to Brasov, will they substitute something, or will there be additional flights? Will that be additional capacity that you're going to have?
No, additional capacity would be nice, because this would help my team and me here to stabilize our operations in Romania. But as for the start, we would have to move from other destinations. So let's say an idea could be to move some aircraft from Bucharest to Brasov. So we don't need 3-4 flights daily to Bucharest from Frankfurt, Munich, Vienna. So there we can take 2-3 flights out and operate them to Brasov. Because we also know that the Bucharest airport was before COVID overcapacity. We don't know when Otopeni will be enlarged, renovated, modernized. So the easiest thing would be to move some operation here to the secondary airport, and also for the region, because the whole region is now traveling either to Bucharest or to Sibiu or to Cluj to fly from there.
Thank you very much. So we will see flights from Austria as well and from Germany to Brasov, which is very good for our investors that are coming in and the ones that are already here. But it's not only about flights and airport. We talk about airport development. Airport development is much more. And for this, we have with us today Eugen Egetenmaier. When I read your CV, I actually had to shortcut a bit, but still it's going to be a long presentation that I'm going to do to you. He has been from 1977 to 85 within the city government of the city of Munich. That was your start, but 30 years from 1985 to 2014, you held different management positions at the Messe München, at the Munich Exhibition Center. And for long years, you were the managing director of Messe München. From 2000 to 2015, you have also been the vice chairman and member of the board of directors with Shanghai New International Expo Center, which is a Sino-German joint venture that has been invested there. And you were successfully involved in planning, constructing, commissioning, and market positioning of that CNEX center. Since 2015, Eugen Egetenmaier has been active in consulting with his own company EEC. He's active in consulting for convention and exhibition centers, management of such projects, and development of trade fair programs. If you allow me, I'm going to come to you later on, but I would like to introduce our other speakers that we have here and the other panelists that we have here with us. And the next panelist is Sebastian Selmaier. Sebastian Selmaier has been working at Munich Airport since 2015, following a cross-divisional training program during which he became familiar with various divisions at Munich Airport. He started his international career participating in numerous projects of Munich Airport International, such as, and we talked about it yesterday when we drove together here to Brasov, the biggest airport move in history in Istanbul, which has been done in 2018 and 19. I guess one project that you will never forget your whole life, but I guess this will be one project that will be part of your heart and your life and your passion. In the next step, Sebastian moved into the business development and account management team at Munich Airport International and currently holds the position as key counterpart for all new business opportunities and ongoing projects in Europe and in the CIS. And his international experience includes projects in Turkmenistan, Egypt, Belgium, Honduras, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Bermuda, Uzbekistan, Austria, Germany, Hungary, Bulgaria, Iceland, and the Netherlands, and hopefully also Romania in the future. So you're more from the view of an airport. That's the view that you're going to bring in, and we'll talk a lot about it. And our last panelist is Marco Grabner. He came in from Austria. He's the regional sales manager East Europe at Rosenbauer Group since 2008, before he worked with Siemens. Rosenbauer is a fire industry supplier of international format, modest expression actually, for the world's leading manufacturer of systems for firefighting and disaster protection, simply the world's largest firefighting technology provider, based in Austria. We will have some interesting questions also for you, where we'll also see what the airport can be and how you can enlarge the function of the airport also for the region. Yeah, with this, I would actually like to start with a question to Eugen Egetenmaier. And the topic of the panel is airports development. So what is it actually that sparks the airport development? Is the regional development sparking the airport development, or is it the other way around, that airport development sparks regional development? And how will you spark more regional development?
Yeah, well, actually airports and trade fair centers in a certain way are close allies with regard to the development of regions. The exhibition centers benefit a lot from airports and airlines. Why? Because the airlines, they are bringing our customers to our exhibition centers, right? Our business is connecting people, and the business of airlines and airports is also connecting people. So while we get our customers from your airlines, we also provide you with more passenger traffic. So these synergies, it's a win-win situation, let me say, for both institutions. And of course, airports as well as exhibition centers, they are both infrastructure projects where a region can benefit from.
Thank you very much. If I pass it on from a bit of a different view, Sebastian Selmaier from Munich Airport, you're in business development. What does business development of an airport mean for you? What is comprehensive business development? Is it just talking to Zlatko, Zlatic and Lufthansa about new flights, or what is the business development from your point of view?
No, so in the end, as an airport, of course, you need to have the airlines, you need to have the passengers flying to the airport. But also, if you look at the financials of airports, you have the aeronautical revenues, and they're a big part, of course, of your business. But you need to think beyond that. At Munich Airport, we have 45% pre-COVID of our revenues coming from non-aeronautical revenues, which means then basically, of course, in the terminal, duty-free, retail, food and beverage, also hotels on the airport premises, parking, advertisement. So, of course, you have many concessionaires in the commercial area you need to include to really make your airport successful. But we also need to think actually beyond that, because what I just listed is still all collected somehow to the flying passenger. If you don't have a flying passenger, you don't have the spendings in the F&B, you don't get so much advertisement income because there's not such a big outreach. So as an airport, it's also important, and I guess the last year showed it, that you diversify your service portfolio and become a bit more independent of the flying passengers. And therefore, it's also important to develop your landside, to develop the area you have for further services. So, for example, in Munich, we are also investing into a real estate development where we want to attract many the companies in the innovative sector to base there, to work there, to have the people to create new ideas, to create new products. And of course, by this, we also get rent income, which also makes us a bit more independent of the flying public. And by this, more strong throughout crisis.
What would you say as we've been after 2.5 years of struggling around, everybody of us in every country in this world, what would you say, would it be rather for this kind of post-pandemic airport that we are here in Brașov, which is being opened up after the pandemic? Is this a completely new business model? Is this a completely new positioning? Or would you say like pre-pandemic worked well, that is something that we should do? Or what's the changes in between?
Well, I guess as an airport, especially as a new airport like Brașov now, an airport that will open after the crisis or towards the end of the crisis, I don't believe we are yet after it, but towards the end, hopefully. I mean, every crisis is a chance. Yeah? And I guess what's important for Brașov, and it's maybe the recommendation I would give, is to exchange with the airports around the globe, with your peers in the industry, but also cross industry, to look what worked well in the last years and what didn't work well. And I guess there are certain things that from before the crisis you should keep, you should continue, and there are some things that you should maybe adapt and go new ways.
Talking about pre-pandemic and post-pandemic, one topic that came up also very big is green technologies, environmental protection. Yeah, I don't know, zero-emission airports, zero-emission airlines, is that possible one day? How, Marco Grabner, how can a company like yours, Rosenbauer, how can you support, let's call the path of an airport towards a zero-emission airport?
Well, this question is a very good question which belongs to all of us. Traveling without polluting the air is a very important topic. The development started already with e-technology, vehicles on the ground. Our company started with the development of fully electric-driven firefighting truck in the year of 2012. 2020, we launched the first municipal fire truck in serial production. Needless to say that the next point on our agenda is the development of the big airport firefighting vehicles, also to the electrical direction. Additionally, I have to say that in June there is a big fair in Hanover, where one of our key points is the electrical vehicles on the firefighting side.
So in talking about environmental aspects of air traffic, how do you compare it? What is the efforts that someone like the Lufthansa Group is actually doing in comparison to road traffic, to rail traffic? Where do you see the future of environmental protection in air traffic?
So, also we know the responsibility towards the environment. On the other hand, we are bridging the world. So, we will need to fly, and yeah, we are also working to reduce CO2 by investing in new aircrafts which use up to 25% less fuel. We are developing and also buying actively sustainable aviation fuel. This means during the production of this fuel, CO2 is taken out of the atmosphere to produce this fuel, and when we burn the fuel, the CO2 is returned. So at the end we have a neutral CO2 sum. So that's our part. So and not only this, we have a lot of small issues, making aircraft smaller, more sustainable, reducing plastics and all these things. So we have a lot of actions, and our goal is to be by 2050 carbon neutral.
That's a big goal. All the best for this achievement. You talked about kerosene getting more environmental friendly. What do you say if I ask you about electric flying? What is that in your aspects? What do you think about it in Lufthansa Group?
For the time being, this is not a point of discussion, because to have electric aircrafts, you need big batteries, and this is technically at the moment not feasible. So therefore the first step is sustainable aviation fuel, and for the future definitely there are already aircrafts flying electric. These are small aircrafts, but the development is ongoing, and I'm sure that engineers will find a solution one day, or we will get a different fuel, so maybe something in hydrogen will come up. So I'm confident that one day we will have the technology.
So also yesterday in the car, we had obviously 2.5 hours drive in the car yesterday, actually in the night and today. We had a discussion also about electric flying. You as not an operator of an airline, but you as an operator of an airport, where do you see the future of electric flying?
Well, I guess first of all, maybe for sure as an airport we have it easier to become carbon neutral than as an airline, yeah, because we are ground based. And when it comes to flying, I guess, yeah, Zlatko says many true words here. Nonetheless, I was 2 weeks ago in Coventry in the UK at the opening of a vertiport prototype for basically for this one new trend also you have in aviation, this urban air mobility or advanced air mobility. And these are of course electric vehicles that will fly, but they are not replacing the airlines as we have in the routes we have, yeah, because they are flying 50, 100 kilometers maybe, so they are more an addition to a different mode of transport to reach the airport. But they can be an important step, maybe for our engineers, to try on a small scale with smaller vehicles, solutions, how to electrify or with hydrogen or whatsoever, bring aviation forward, because in the end I guess we need aviation. Yeah? It's key to connect the world, it's key that cultures can work together, collaborate on a business level, but also on an intercultural personal level. I guess that's very important also for the whole human society. So I hope that maybe this development in the advanced air mobility sector with eVTOLs is an important first step for our engineers and for all of us working in this industry, be it the airline operators, be it the airport operators, to see what happens there and then go from there the next step upwards to maybe regional airliners and further, and make aviation green on the midterm to long-term run.
So I'm happy that we're not only talking airports development in terms of business, in terms of infrastructure, in terms of money and revenues, but we also talk in terms of environmental protection and also going forward, looking into the future. Eugen Egetenmaier, you as a consultant, as a very experienced person in exhibition centers which are closely connected to airports because they bring a lot of people in. Where do you see most of the synergies between an exhibition center like the Messe München and the Munich airport? How could that also translate into Gimbaf Airport, Brasov Airport, and a project here, potentially a new project in an exhibition center?
Well, it is not what I mentioned before. The visitors, right, which we get from the airports through the airlines. The exhibition centers, they are also providing the local industry or the regional industry with a marketing platform that they can, let me say, market their products, their services to a national audience at the exhibition center, but also to an international audience coming then to the exhibition center. So that's a benefit also for the local industry, right, by the support of airports and airlines. What I also would mention is similar with airports and exhibition centers, that both institutions, they bring money to the region, right, by purchasing power of exhibitors, of visitors. I mean, exhibitors, they are paying for transportation, they are paying for stand building, which is done mostly by small and medium-sized companies, mostly domestic regional companies. Exhibitors as well as visitors, they need to stay in hotels, they are in restaurants, they are using taxis, they are using public transport, so the purchasing power is quite big. For instance, we made a survey for Munich that the purchasing power, the annual purchasing power by these expenses of exhibitors as well as visitors is about 3.3 billion euros every year. And by this, also about 27,000 jobs are secured as well. There's a thumb calculation that says for every €1 of revenues of an exhibition center, this pays off in about 8 to 10 euros to the local economy, right? And I think we have similar figures from the airports as well. You are also generating these kind of inflows by your staff, by your visitors, etc.
So what you're saying is actually that the exhibition center would drive the development of the airport as well. It would be a strong driver for the airport. We're talking a bit here about chicken and egg, what was first. And it seems that if you add an exhibition center to an airport, the development could actually speed up. If we talk about that, Zlatko, Zlatic, from the point of view of Lufthansa, of an air carrier, of a legacy carrier actually, how do you think, how important is industry to you, tourism to you, a trade center, exhibition center, how important would that be in terms of rating, or what is the most important factor for you in Brașov County to attract passengers for your flights?
As I said already...
Yeah, okay, you first.
In my speech, this region offers the whole mix. So you have the tourists, you have the corporate companies here, and on top an exhibition center would be another strong argument for this region. So the mix is here, and you may not only see Brașov area, you have also to see the combination of C.E.O. and Cluj-Napoca. So especially for incoming groups, they are doing Transylvania tours, so you can arrive in Brașov, leave from C.E.O. or from Cluj, so there's a big connection for the region. So, and Brașov would add a big asset to the whole region.
So how much do you think is the importance of cargo business for you? We talked in the phone call that we had before this panel, we talked about it. How important can cargo business be for you? Because cargo business basically comes out of the industry.
For the time being, the cargo business is saving us. So since the pandemic started, our cargo business unit is making record profits. And I think you all are aware how much of goods have been transported during the pandemic by air freight. So cargo is definitely a very, very important sector and part for our operations.
Eugen, Egetenmaier, you wanted to add something beforehand?
Yeah, I would like to add the following. You said the chicken and egg situation between airports and exhibition centers. I think what is very important for an exhibition center is before it is built or planned, that a kind of market study is done for which kind of industries and services of a region an exhibition center is really beneficial. Because it doesn't help very much just to build halls and then wait how to fill it. It's the other way around, right? First, develop a kind of program for an exhibition center based on the local industry, based on, let me say, international connections to neighboring countries, etc. And then build the exhibition center by the dimensions which such a program requests.
Thank you very much for adding that. So we talk a lot about the cooperation or the interactions in between the airlines, in between the airport, in between a trade center, exhibition center, the industry and so on. Let's talk about a different thing with Marco Grabner right now, because we had a call last week where we talked about something, the cooperation between the airport and the city of Gimbaf. What could be the advantages of having all the modern, top-notch firefighting equipment at the airport? and what could be the connection, and what do you actually have to do right now in order to be able to seize those opportunities of a cooperation between the village or the city of Gimbaf and the airport?
A well-developed fire department is very important, since this shows a safety to the public and and also to tourists. So additionally, it's very important that the fire departments, the municipal fire departments, as well the fire departments of the airports work together hand in hand. Just imagine that some air incident happen outside of the area, so the airport department has to go outside, work together with the municipal fire department. Additionally, the fire trucks of the airport are very powerful. They have very big pumps, have big water tanks, so why not to assist the municipal fire department in the case of some disaster?
Well, when we talk about that, Marco Grabner from Rosenbauer, when we talk about that, does it take an agreement, or which way does it have to be specially planned that there is a cooperation between the city of Gimbaf and the airport in terms of firefighting?
Normally there are some agreements between the municipalities and the airports. This has to be done directly between the city and the airport management, and happens very often, and I know a lot of such agreements worldwide, because it's very useful.
So you have also some expertise in that area. Airport Munich, Sebastian Selmaier, do you have expertise in that area as well, that you have a cooperation between the airport equipment and the outside area of the airport, because you have all this event area, you have the hotels, you have the campus lab, you have the office buildings, you have many different areas. Is your equipment allowed outside, or which way do you do that?
Yeah, well, of course, you also have, I would say, close relations with all the stakeholders in the environment of the airport. Speaking for firefighting, I would need to lie if I'm saying anything here. I'm not the expert in there. But one thing that I want to mention there when it comes to the collaboration between the neighboring villages and cities and the airport, one thing that we also have in Munich, and I guess it also can help to get a positive image of the airport, not just amongst the people who love airplanes and who love to fly, but also a bit more amongst the broader society living in that area. In Munich Airport, for example, when it comes to winter services, we don't have all the special equipment. Of course, you have some special equipment which is then ours for cleaning runways and whatsoever. But we also have a collaboration with the farmers of the neighboring villages. That basically, when they are done with the season, in fall they bring their trucks to Munich Airport. We equip them with the right equipment for plowing the snow and cleaning the runway, cleaning the apron. They get a certain fee for having their trucks on standby at the airport. They get a certain income for being standby and on on-call duty for Munich Airport. And then basically when there's snowfall expected, we can call in the farmers, and they help us basically to clean the apron, to remove the snow. So it's a win-win situation. We as an airport, we don't need that equipment year round. So it would be a huge invest also for the staff. How do you do it with your staff? The farmers in the winter don't have so much business, don't have so much to do on their fields. So both parties can benefit from farmers having the peak in summer, we having our peak in winter for this type of service. And by such, I would say, smart collaborations, you can help to have a good business case for your airport, a good business case for the people in the neighborhood, and make a win-win situation for everybody. And I guess that counts for sure as well for firefighting and many other services.
Thanks very much. Also, thank you very much for putting in the word smart, which is here the first word, smart airport cities. So in order to act smart, you have to be able to combine also the outside areas. You have the auxiliary areas, be it an event area, be it speaking about event area, and I see Christian Macedoński back there. You have more or less an Oktoberfest zelt there in between the two terminals. Christian, this is something that you should actually do at Gimbaf Airport as well. But let me rephrase Sebastian Selmaier. Let me, Christian.
I'm very often in Munich airport, and I think it's one of the most friendly, customer-friendly airport with the shops and with everything there, which I know. If I know well, it's also the only 5-star airport in Europe, yes, and they have, and what is very important, also for a smart airport, yes, they have their own brewery in the airport inside. And,
here we go.
You have to go to test the beer from the Munich airport, of course.
Is this part of the operational readiness and airport transfer team?
Well, I must say from the ORADs I participated in, so as operational readiness, I didn't yet experience an airport where we also could convince them of implementing, of building their own brewery. But for sure, Christian mentioned it. With the airport brewery, we create something which is unique, which makes Munich Airport unique, and I guess the same as what you need in Brasov. You need to think about, don't just have the same shops like you find in every airport worldwide, but create your sense of place. Identify what makes this region special. Have your commercial strategy of how you want to operate this facility, and then create the respective environment in the terminal with the shops that you have. Maybe also outside then with your brewery, with local beer, I don't know. Yeah. So many things to look at. With the commercial part of the business, yeah.
So we have a new panelist right now who is already like shaking with his microphone. Christian, you wanted to top up?
No, it's okay. I just wanted to add, they don't have just a brewery there and a small Oktoberfest at the Munich airport. They have also a Christmas market, and for me, they are a smart airport city in the airport inside.
So as we're enlarging the panelists here, anyone want to join in? Andrea, Daragos, anyone who wants to come up, please feel free. But let me take the thoughts one step back, and let's stay with you, Sebastian Selmaier. One thing that I would actually like to ask you is, we're here at an airport, well, we're not at an airport, but we're very close to an airport which is going to be opened in a few months. But we also have representatives of other airports here. What are your recommendations to all the representatives of other airports, like Iași Airport that has the new project which was won by Strabag from Austria? What do you recommend to those other airports outside of the capital of Romania and Bucharest, smaller airports that are there, in order, what way should they go, what should they do, what should they look out for in terms of doing the right development for the airport?
Well, this is multiple dimensions, I would say. One definitely is what I just mentioned, identifying your commercial strategy, identifying how you want to place your airport, how you want to show your airport for the passenger with the basically shops you have inside, create this sense of place. One for sure is also when it comes into developing a business, to creating new routes, to also identify what are you, which airport are you. There are airports, like Munich Airport, we define ourselves as premium, we are a hub, we transfer passengers from A to B, Europe and the world. So we are an airport that is well fitting for carriers like Lufthansa, yeah. And then there are airports that might rather have a business model which fits better for a low-cost carrier. And I guess that's where basically as an airport what you have to identify as well. What kind of airport are you? What is your competition? What is your catchment area? What are the passenger profiles you can generate in your area? Then based when you know who you are, then you can best really go out in the market and talk with airlines and develop your route network together with them. And the last element I may want to mention, especially for the airports like here in Brasov, which will open shortly, you mentioned Iași, where there's a new terminal project ongoing, and there are some more in Romania. It's very important to not just think about that construction is ready, but also think about operational readiness. Because only when you consider that in your planning, you can make the opening a real success. I guess many of you might say, okay, what is it? What do I need? I mean, I have my construction company who builds the infrastructure, I have my system suppliers who install all the systems, and I have people, and people operate already in the airport. They do the check-in, they do boarding, I have my people doing passport control, so everything is there. But that's actually not the case. So it's very important for all of you there at these airports where you have these programs to really find a dedicated team Usually it's a mix of in-house people and people from the outside. So Munich Airport being one of them, for example, who really developed this program where you define how should my procedures look like at this new terminal, at this new airport, and not just for standard operations, but also for fallbacks, for emergencies, and afterwards also to familiarize the staff. The staff needs to know where they need to walk, where the canteen is, where the workplace is, how the passengers go, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, they will not be successful on the first days of operations. And afterwards, you need to trial that as well. So you need to basically fake operations beforehand, because you always find issues that come up. And in best case, you find these issues before you have the public coming to the airport, because especially nowadays, with all the social media, everything is out there in the world in a minute. That means better find that beforehand, before you get bad press in the first days and weeks after the opening. And in the worst case, even operational this nightmare, like London Heathrow T5 some years back, where bags and so on have been just lost over weeks. So that's also a very important aspect. Think about operational readiness as well, not just about your construction being there.
So what you tell me is it's all about planning. The earlier you think about something, some solution, the better it is. Munich Airport, you're in business development of Munich Airport, but you have a consulting division as well, which consults airports in setting up the airport. And you said something really important, which is kind of interesting to me. Like, what kind of airport do you want to be? Zlatko, Zlatic, what kind of airport do you want to have here in Gimbaf, in Brașov County?
What kind of airport I would like to have? I think, an airport to grow needs a mix of all. So you cannot just build on legacy airlines, because you most probably won't have the catchment area with the big number of passengers. So you have to get a mix. At the end, the airport has really to decide which strategy. And I remember being here 2.5 years ago with the German business community. Also there I said, guys, before you open the airport, think which strategy you are going. Because there are airlines which are claiming, let's say, high benefits to come here. And then it's the airport has to see how much money do they have available to attract these airlines. So, and what kind of package do they offer? So it's not an easy task, and I'm happy that I don't need to solve this.
I don't know if Alexandro Angel is still here with us. Maybe he would like to answer the question, what kind of airport do you want to be? But passing it on beforehand, the question to Eugen Egetenmaier, when I ask you what kind of airport you would like to have as the managing director of Munich Messe for such a long time, you would actually say an airport that is to be closed, isn't it? What is the relation between the old and the new airport in Munich, for everybody who doesn't know it?
The old and the new airport, you mean, in Munich?
What's the function of the old airport now?
Well, you may know that our exhibition center in Munich was built at the site of the old airport, right? When the old airport moved to its current site, then a huge area of 360 hectares became free. And out of these 360 hectares, we got a piece of 120 hectares for the exhibition center. So this was, let me say, an indirect benefit for us when the airport moved to the other side. But let me add something else. What would I wish from a new exhibition center here in Gimbaf? You have the big chance that you are starting by zero. Starting by zero is always a good chance. It's a challenge as well, of course, sure. But when we started in Munich, the exhibition industry in total, that was in 1964. We also started by zero, and now, a kind of 40, 50 years later, we are among the 10 most frequented exhibition centers worldwide, right? The same happened in Shanghai. It started also from zero, and now it's the most frequented exhibition center in China. So I think also Gimbaf may have this luck if you just tailor a specific exhibition program which are serving the needs of your industry in this region with, however, the ambition, right, to connect it to your neighboring country, not only domestically here in the country, but also to your neighboring countries, to Europe. You have the chance, and when the airlines are starting the connections to Nuremberg, to Poland, to France, I heard today, to other Eastern countries here, I think you have a good chance and a good opportunity to develop something special.
So you say, Eugen Egetenmaier, you say the earlier you start with an exhibition center here in Gimbaf, in Brasov area, the better it would be for the airport as well. So you say that the earlier you start with kind of an exhibition project, an exhibition center here in Gimbaf, in Brasov area, the better it would be for the airport development as well.
Of course, the earlier the exhibition industry is starting, is helping the airport and vice versa. Both are like twins, right?
All right, that also brings us to the aeronautic and non-aeronautic revenues. Sebastian Selmaier in Munich Airport, what's the share and how does it, what is the actual status, so to say, and which way do you try to develop the non-aeronautical revenues?
Well, it's basically, as I mentioned earlier a bit, it's, the aeronautical revenues are, of course, an important part for you as an airport, but they're also under pressure, and as an airport, you cannot just live, or at least not, well, in a good financial status when you rely only on basically the aeronautical revenues you get. So it's very important to develop your non-aeronautical business. Munich Airport, 2019 was 45%, and also there, it's important that, of course, you develop the revenues that come from the passengers with your good commercial concept, with the sense of place that I mentioned as well, that you influence your passengers to give them a good feeling of comfort. We heard before Munich Airport being one of the best airports in Europe by customer ratings. Is it the only 5-star? Depends on if you see Istanbul being part of Europe or not. So Istanbul Airport meanwhile has 5 stars as well, and it also helps to when the customer is happy, then he also spends more, of course, so that helps as well. But then also looking beyond that, it's also important to diversify and to become independent of the flying passenger, which comes then to basically this landside developments that you, together with the partners of the region, with the Messe and others, you can basically move forward. Yeah.
Thank you very much, because you lead me from something. We run here the panel of airports development, and the conference is called Smart Airport Cities. So I think it's much more about the development of the whole city, the whole surrounding and everything around the airport, and the airport is only kind of a crucial point, but a very crucial point in the whole development. Let me touch one last topic before getting into the final round and closing off the panel with one final question. The topic is, and I would actually, if I can go on with you, Sebastian Selmaier from Munich Airport, preparation for future external shocks. We saw them in the past 2.5 years, enough of them. What can you recommend to an airport to prepare for future external shocks?
Diversify. That would be the one word. Diversify your business model, because the more diverse you are, when the shock hits one area, the other area might still be in place. And another very important aspect is collaboration and close exchange with your community, with the stakeholders, with the regional government. Because whenever you can plan for shocks, of course you can, but you can never plan 100% for it. So every plan you make will not be valid when it comes to it, but nonetheless it helps you. And then when this event happens and you have a good collaboration, a good exchange with the other stakeholders in your environment, then it's time to act and to rework the plan most likely and act accordingly. So diversify and having a good collaboration with all parties in the area, be it other stakeholders, private stakeholders as well as public stakeholders, to act on such a shock.
Thank you very much. Handing it over to Marco Grabner from Rosenbauer Group. What we talk about here is also crisis and disaster management. Is the airport a contingency for kind of crisis and disaster management? How can an airport prepare the whole region for external shocks that might come up?
Disaster management is very important because during a disaster, all the departments of the region has to work together. So not only fire departments, this belongs also to police, to ambulances, hospitals, and also to the army. Fortunately, we are living in the time of digital solutions. Therefore, solutions are available to connect all these organizations together. It's very important to have emergency plans on the airport and as well also for the region. Feed these plans into a system, you can call it a pre-incident management. On the other hand, it's very important to have the incident management, so in the case of a disaster, sharing information between the organizations is very important. And also the post-incident management, fleet management, so how is the status of my vehicles, of my crew, and also to make life easier with administrational things, so checklists and such things. So definitely I can say that the smart solutions, the digital solutions are very important for the disaster management on the airport as well for the whole region.
Thank you very much, Marco, and I guess you anticipated my final round, so I already said that you closed off our final round. Starting with you, Zlatko Zlatic from Lufthansa Group, how much smart should be, or how much smart is in an airport, in an airport city?
So we need high sophisticated processes, seamless flows, so that the passenger enjoys, so coming to the airport and up to the boarding and departure, and on the same on the incoming side, that you can quickly leave the airport. So this logistics have to be solved, and yeah, we see it in different airports how it's working. So new security controls are developed, and everything is there to make the travel seamless and convenient for the passenger.
Thank you very much, Zlatko Zlatic from Lufthansa Group. Eugen Egetenmaier, Messe München, your own consulting company. How much smart should be in an airport? How much smart is already in an airport and in the airport city, all the surroundings?
Well, what is the definition of smart from the point of view of an exhibition center? You know, exhibition centers usually generate a lot of traffic. This is the traffic, delivery traffic. When an exhibition is built up, lorries come in. That is the visitor traffic when visitors are coming by car. So traffic is crucial for a good, efficient operation of an exhibition center. So it is really important to pay a lot of attention of organizing the traffic also smartly. And what is really important is to have a good public transport in order to avoid, to the extent possible, the car transportation, which is usually for neighbors of exhibition centers not so amusing, right? So a good public transport connection from the city to the exhibition center and from the exhibition center to the airport, that is really key for a successful exhibition center.
Eugen Egetenmaier, how much smart do you see in hybrid events? Can exhibition centers exist as hybrid?
Well, we had during the pandemic, let me say very often, so-called hybrid events. because it wasn't possible to have in-person events due to the restrictions, to the health restrictions and so on. Actually, after 2 years, our customers feel a little bit bored by these hybrid events. I think we are meeting also here today in person, and I think we are much more happy than if we to be together here than if we would sit in front of a computer and watch each other on the format of a stand, right? And so is the reality of exhibitions as well. We made the experience just this year when the restrictions luckily were lifted, that in the first shows that we had in March and April, already about 70 to 90% of our customers, as well on the exhibitor side as on the visitor side, are back. The next exhibition in end of April, IFED, that's the world's largest environment exhibition, is fully booked, right? We cannot sell any more stands. So the reality of in-person events is back, luckily.
So the European Union issues resilience and recovery funds, but people are much more resilient than the European Union actually assumed, so to say.
Yeah, but however, I would like to mention one sentence, if you allow. Of course, what we are now doing in future is that we combine the in-person events with hybrid elements. We have made the experience last year with the International Automobile Exhibition, which moved from Frankfurt to Munich, that of course we had 400,000 visitors, but we also combined it with hybrid elements, and we got, you won't believe it, we got 40 million accesses on YouTube and on TikTok during the 1 week exhibition. So we can reach, in addition, a worldwide audience by hybrid elements as well. So the combination is key.
Congratulations for this effect. I have to tell you actually that our organization does about 1,200 to 1,500 events every year. We also did it in the pandemic times. We had an event with about 600 spectators live in Vienna. And the first time we went hybrid, we had 5,000 spectators from all over the world, so it really works. The Applied Artificial Intelligence conference that we do now has 400 participants. It's the biggest event in the world on that topic, with a very specific topic that is looking into artificial intelligence, marketing and sales. So, yeah, Sebastian, Selmaier, let me ask you kind of a challenging question right now. How smart is the airport development in Munich?
Well, I guess the question is, how do you define smart? And then I can better answer that. So in the end, I guess smart is one thing that I guess where Zlatko went a bit in the direction is when it comes about technology, or technological solutions for more seamless travel and more seamless passenger journey. That's an important element to work on, especially also for us in Munich, because in the end we see it. We are in an environment where we have a very low unemployment rate. And of course, some jobs at the airport, well, are maybe not the best paid ones. There are different jobs, but there are some which are maybe hard to work on and don't have the best standing. So a certain automatization helps not just to make a process more efficient, but also to deal with staff shortage. Another element I would say that is also smart is what I mentioned before: collaboration, exchanging, learning from your peers, learning from other airports you're working with, or from around the globe. Learn best practices, and I guess that's also very important, and I hope we are smart in that. I mean, we have many international projects where we also consult others and help others, but of course it also helps us to see what happens in other destinations and bring it back to Munich. So I hope we are smart, but that's for people flying through Munich and seeing us who should maybe better judge if we are smart or not. And if not, please tell me what we need to work on.
So let's hope that we added some smart value added now for our audience. And thank you very much, Zlatko, Zlatic, Lufthansa Group, for being here with us, and of course Austrian Airlines also representing.
My pleasure.
And Eugen Egetenmaier, Messe München, former managing director and now consultant in exhibition and conference centers. Sebastian Selmaier, Business Development at Munich Airport. Thanks very much for being with us. And Marco Grabner from Rosenbauer International. And my fifth panelist over there, who's smiling at me right now, Christian Macedonski, come out. What would be the smartest move now with this time that we have? I carved out 10 minutes.
Thank you very much. No, we don't have 10 minutes because we go in the break. But before we are going the break, please come in front for a photo, for a common photo. And I have also for you a gift, and I asked my assistant Andrea to give you a nice book about Brasov and surroundings in English. Andrea, please.